What is up, guys? My name is Stevie and welcome to Stevie Speaks Media, where I do reviews on movies, music, and games. And today we're gonna dive right into 2019's Aladdin. So let's get started because things are about to get real. There were some things about the movie that I thought were really charming and very thought out and very enchanting. But there were some other aspects of the movie that I thought could have been better. Some things that I want to touch base on is definitely like the concept of the movie and the originality of the movie. I'm going to kind of like combine the two just because this movie is based off of the animated version of the movie. I also want to talk about the actor's performance and the character development and how well it kind of like meshed together. And then I also kind of want to talk about the visuals of the movie and the effects of the movie, because for a movie like this, it's very important to have some amazing and some beautiful special effects. So number one, what I kind of want to delve into right now is the concept and the originality of the movie. So I felt like the originality of the movie was okay. I felt like Guy Ritchie kind of played it safe with his first musical, and he just wanted to just go with how the original story went, which is okay. It's okay to be safe. I just hope that the next time that he does a movie very similar to this, I hope that he kind of steps up his game a little bit more. I feel like if you want to make a remake, absolutely make it to where it gives the original version of the story justice. But you should also kind of amp it up a little bit, especially if it's a live action movie, and just kind of take that extra mile and make it special in its own way. In terms of my favorite live action Disney movie that has come out, I would say this is probably one of my favorites. I did like Beauty and the Beast. I did like The Jungle Book. I thought they were greatly made. And I don't have a lot of, terrible things to say about them. I thought they were both good, but I would honestly give that a C because I felt like it was a perfect replica of the original Disney animated movie. And I felt like because the original Disney movie was 90 minutes long, and this one was like 2 hours and some minutes, I felt like they really stretched out that story. And I felt like if they really wanted to make that 2 hours and some minutes organic, then they would have added a little bit more richness to maybe like the characters' backstories or whatever the case may be. So I would give the concept and the originality a C because it was average. It didn't like wow me, but it wasn't below average either. So next up, I would love to talk about the actor's performance and the character development. So I felt like what I really liked about the actors that played specifically Jasmine and Aladdin, I really liked that they kind of picked like no-name actors. They've been in things. I think I've recognized Naomi Scott, who is the one that plays Jasmine. I think I've seen her in some things before, but she's not some like A-list celebrity. So I really liked how they picked no-name actors. So starting off with the gentleman that played Aladdin, I thought he did a really good job, but I don't think he went above average. I felt like he was a phenomenal actor. I thought it was really smart of them to choose somebody that's not like super well known, and I thought he had a pretty decent voice, and he actually sounded a lot like the original Aladdin. So, but I still believe that if they wanted to just amp up the movie just a little bit more, I felt like they could have added a richer backstory to him. So for his overall performance, I would give him a solid B. I feel like he did good. He was above average. He you know, didn't like super wow me. Like I was like, oh my god, wow, that was like the greatest performance I've ever seen. I really stayed true to the Aladdin character. In terms of Jasmine, Naomi Scott did a really good job at playing Jasmine. I felt like she definitely she raised the bar. Come on, Stephanie, use proper grammar over here. She raised the bar a little bit. You know, I felt like there was some more depth and more of a story with Jasmine than I felt like with Aladdin. I feel like she had a stronger personality than what her character was in the Disney version of the story, and they added a song for her called Speechless, which I thought really played nicely in the movie because it really told a story for her. How in the beginning she was struggling with this inner voice telling her, you know, well, you know, I have to follow these traditions. I have to marry a prince. I want to make my father proud of me. I need to follow these laws in order to, you know, eventually become queen of my country. So she was battling with that, and then she was also battling with, you know, finding her voice and not wanting to marry a prince. She wanted, you know, she felt she was like suffocating. You really saw that struggle, and then you saw that growth eventually in this in the story. And I thought that song really was nice, you know, addition to the movie itself and to her character. But like I said before, it would have been really nice and really cool if they also added a rich backstory to her as well. Overall, her performance, I would give her a B+. I thought she raised the bar a little bit more than the guy that played Aladdin, but I wouldn't necessarily give her like an A. I didn't think she was like, oh my god, super amazing, but I did really like her performance, and she has an incredible voice. But yeah, that's I think the best score for her is probably like a B+. So moving on to Jafar. So I thought Jafar, you know, I didn't really care for his performance. I thought he was just okay. I would honestly give him a C because he didn't wow me. I felt like I was underwhelmed. I didn't feel like his performance really wowed me either. That is somebody that I really think his character would have really benefited from a backstory, just to kind of see like where that power for hunger really stemmed from. If like it kind of showed, and maybe they could do this in another movie, that'd be kind of cool, where they kind of showed his backstory, why he became the way that he became, something of that nature. I think that'd be really cool and really smart of them to do. And I think that what was cool about his performance was that his evilness or his villainness, if that makes any sense, villainous, whatever. You get what that sense was, that I liked how very subtle it was in the beginning, and then it gradually built up like his hunger for power, his hunger to get this lamp so he can become the most powerful being in the world. That was interesting, but at the same time it was a little bit boring to watch. So I would give him the C. I thought it was just kind of average. It's my dog Chewbacca. He's a little Shih Tzu, and he's just running around playing. So if you hear barking, that is what it is. Here he is. Here's little Chewbacca. Say hello. Doesn't he look like Chewbacca? He's furry. He's crazy. And he's got the cutest little face. Hi. Okay. Moving on to my favorite performance in the whole entire movie is Will Smith playing as the genie. So I know that he got so much criticism before the movie even came out that, you know, he wasn't really gonna, you know, do a good job because everybody loves Robin Williams as the genie, and he did an iconic role of that movie, and I don't really feel like anybody can really beat him. But what is really charming about the way that Will Smith did this character was he was so nervous and he was so scared to do this role because of the fact that, you know, everybody loved Robin Williams' performance. So yeah, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure, man. That's a lot of pressure. I know I'd be fucking shaking in my boots, like, excuse my language, but I'd be scared out of my mind. And, you know, don't get me wrong, Will Smith's a great actor, but I was even a little concerned about how this would have panned out, and sure as shit, he was my favorite part of the whole entire goddamn movie. Like, he was stellar. I loved his performance. He was charming. He used, you know, his own he used his own flavor. That's a good word. He used his own flavor in this role, and I really appreciated that. He did justice. He didn't try to outshine Robin Williams. He did his own thing. He added his own charm. He had his own funniness, and it really made a good performance. And honestly, he was probably the most entertaining part of that whole entire movie, and I really enjoyed it. So I would honestly give him like an A or an A+ for that role, because he did phenomenal, and I felt like he really did that role justice. And if Robin Williams saw him do it, he probably would be so proud and so honored that he played it as well as he did. So next on this list, I would love to talk about visual and effects. It'll be really short and sweet. I really wanted to touch base on like the concept and the originality of the story and the actor's performance, and how the characters were developed in this version compared to the animated version. So I thought the visuals and effects were actually pretty stunning. They were, you know, I liked it. It was beautiful, and I mean, I thought that the CGI was a little corny, but I feel like CGI in general is really corny. But I thought that they did a really good job. I thought the CGI was beautiful, and I thought the monkey, he looked pretty realistic. I thought that the genie CGI was a little corny, and I thought that when Jafar turned into, you know, his all-powerful magical beast version of himself, I thought his CGI was a little corny as well. But overall, I felt like the visual and effects were pretty and pretty well done. So I would give that like a good solid like B or B+. Last but surely not least, I feel like I should touch base a little bit on the costuming in the movie and the soundtrack of the movie. Hi, buddy. Oh, I love you too. In terms of Aladdin's costume, like in the beginning, let's just say, where he's, you know, living day by day, stealing things to survive and eat, I felt like his costume was a little bit too clean to interpret that. So I feel like his costume should have been a little bit more tattered, a little bit more dirty, a little bit more just like realistic. If he was living in the slummier parts of his country, then I feel like he would be extremely dirty. I feel like he would look dirty, and his hair would be a little bit more grimier, and I feel like he would have more tatters and rips and such in his costume. So like minor details like that, I felt like they could have been a little bit cleaner on. In terms of the soundtrack of the movie, obviously it has a lot of the same songs that were played in the animated version. Like I said, Naomi Scott and the gentleman that played Aladdin, I felt like they both sang really well together, and they had pretty decent chemistry in terms of singing well together. I really like the new song, Speechless. I felt like it was a very powerful song, and it really added a good element to the story as a whole and to her character development. So if I had to give this movie like an overall score, I would give it a good solid B. Just because I feel like the characters could have been developed a little bit more than what they were presented in the movie. I feel like that would have really elevated the movie to like another level. And I feel like, you know, like simple things like the costuming and character development, like I said before, the concept of the movie, or the originality of the movie, and the creativity definitely could have been elevated. However, to end on a good note, I feel like Will Smith did an amazing job, and I feel like he really gave justice to that role. And I feel like if Robin Williams was looking down on him, he'd be super proud. So good job, Will. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. If you guys like this video, please give some love to my like button, shoot me a little comment below, and if you want to see where this channel is gonna go, then please hit that subscription button. But until then, that's a wrap.